What's going on, folks? How's your evening going? Some of you are sitting around looking at the evening news tonight, and you're seeing things that are being said about ICE, the unit, the immigration unit, and people going to jail and being deported and all this stuff like that. And there's a big scare going on. But what do we really know about immigration? I took this time to go and look up some things about immigration policy, and I read a few documents, and they were extensive, and it was a lot of things I couldn't decipher in these documents, but some of the basic information was there. And if you folks, I challenge you folks to go out and read it yourselves and try to learn some things about what immigration is all about, and how they bring people over and how they send people back. There are two types of visas. Okay? There's the temporary visa and there's the permanent visa. Now, if you're a foreigner in this country, then you probably have one thing or the other. But see, in some cases, many of these people don't have either. So they come over illegally and they stay here for a great deal of time, and they may have children, you know. And when they have those children and the children's are natural citizens, they say, well, I should be able to stay over here because my kid is a natural citizen. But see, in normal cases, that would be the case. But in this case, you remember you are still an illegal alien, and you were that before you had the child. So these policies are in place for certain things. Now we understand that, yeah, you have family ties and you're going to be attached, but you have to remember something, that every country has their own set of sovereign laws. And when you come to a country, when you get that temporary visa is really, you're making an arrangement with the government, and both of you have an understanding that you're not going to be here any longer than the time specified on that temporary visa. And that's the arrangement. Now, when you get a permanent visa, that's a whole different ball game right there, and you're going to be on your way to become a naturalized citizen. That's your path, right? And so there are two different situations and two different processes. Now, I don't have, I am an empath. I do care about people, and I do understand, how that can tear apart families and stuff. But you have to understand something, that, those laws aren't just flexible just to be changed just because somebody wants to see them changed. They're there for a reason. In this case, DHS, which is the Department of Homeland Security, they have this ICE unit, which is Immigration Control Enforcement Agency or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it's called. And they're like the top investigating arm for the Department of Homeland Security when it comes to immigration and certain issues involving those things. And this is what they do. Now, in some cases, it's a matter of Homeland Security, specifically because of things that happen in the country, domestic terrorism and certain things that happen. And they're there for those reasons too. But also, just to speak to the matter of having a process. And there's a right way to do things. And that's what I was trying to explain to the person, that, it's not about having necessarily a witch hunt, but it's about beefing up immigration and doing some reform. And when you talk about reform, that means taking a look at the laws and throwing out things that don't work. And if you're talking about strengthening your country and your borders, then yeah, you have to do certain things. But just understand something, that if I go to another country right now and I sneak in illegally, then I am actually an illegal resident of that country because they need to know I'm in that country. There are many reasons. I mean, that's self-explanatory. So yeah, in your home countries, you may have some oppression going on. There may be some strife and violence and war and whatever's going on, and that's tragic. You know, but think of all of the many people who actually are going through the official process to become U.S. citizens, and how long and how much impatient they have to be, but they have to wait and they have no choice. And they're going about it the right way. And eventually they'll become citizens, they'll get in and they'll become citizens and they'll make a way and hopefully they'll better and strengthen the country. Because remember, as an American, I care about my country. I want to see jobs and things happen for my country. I mean, there are things about jobs that are in these documents relative to the immigration thing. And you folks, that's why I was saying you have to read up on these things. And excuse me, I got something in my mouth. You folks have to read up on these things, though. I mean, I'm being serious. It was something that spoke in the document that was worded like it was discussing some aspect of when you bring someone over from another country. In some cases, that visa has to specify that they have a specialized trade or some skill that's going to benefit something, and that's why they're over to do some work. And it was also taking a look at if that person would be replacing an American because they were looking out for the Americans. See, you people don't understand that, you live in this country and the laws are made for certain reasons. And some people get emotional and they don't put logic into why they want to have a certain opinion about something without knowing really the facts of things. Do you really believe if I made you in charge of a country, right, a nation or something, if I made you the boss of that nation and it was your responsibility, would you just say, hell yeah, just let people, you don't have to check people to let them come in, you can just let anyone come in? See, there's a lot of things. It's customs, there's a bunch of things. Immigration and customs enforcement, that's what I think that is. I don't know what I said at first, but that's what it probably is, folks. But you can look it up. This will be your opportunity to go see for yourself and find out, because you need to know these things. If you're going to have any conversations about what's going on, you need to be at least somewhat versed in the topic, right? Before you make a decision or base something or think that the administration is doing something wrong, you need to think about what they're actually doing. See, when you're emotional, you're thinking that they're doing it for some reason to do something to you or something, without thinking about the fact that they're trying to strengthen the country. Because every nation has their things that they do to make their country greater. And that's what this is about. It really is about that. We're not talking about low-level intelligence applying to this. This is taking great intelligence to try to solve problems that need to be solved. When you come in, you can't even bring certain pieces of fruit and certain things from other places because of what they may do to the biological factors that they may create in the environment, the bugs or something that's not relative to this country. I mean, there's a host of reasons of why we have immigration policies, and in fairness, it's the same all over the world. I mean, every country has their own set of things and laws and rules. And if you follow the rules, if you're not following the rules, you can't backtrack and say, well, because I broke the rules, that was just a little break, and now I'm here and I should be able to live here. Yeah, you may have been productive here, but you didn't come here under the right circumstances in the right process. Because it would only be fair if I went to any country. That could be a third world country, that could be an industrialized nation, that could be wherever on this planet. I could go somewhere, and if I don't have my proper documentation, then what do I expect to happen? Do I expect them, the police, to see me somewhere or some situation, or I commit a crime there or something, or I'm just hypothetical, and I do something, and then they have some person that they don't know who I am or anything. I mean, just think about how governments think when they're doing these things. Sometimes these things are necessary. You know, this is not about having a bleeding heart right now. This is about just logically looking at an issue. You know, you have to look at the populace. You have to look at a bunch of things. You know, social programs. These, you know, sometimes in these cases, there's money that has to be paid to take care of. I mean, there's a lot of things. And then you'll be the first people crying about how high your taxes are going up or something, but you don't understand that it's all relative. And that's what I was talking about. You know, the way that we think, you know, the things that we do, those are behavioral things. It's all relative. I'm not downplaying someone's desperate attempt to have a better life. I'm not downplaying it. And in some cases, if you made it over and you did that and you kept your head under the radar and you did that, well, you did that. You know. But if you come out in public and you say something, that's just like if I robbed a bank or something and I come out on the news and say, yeah, I robbed a bank and I named the branch and all of that. Like, I mean, seriously, do I not expect someone to come for me or to question me or something? Like this is what I'm saying about sometimes, you know, and this conversation was deep because, you know, I like these folks, you know, they're good people, you know. They're not US citizens. They're good people though. But you know, we had a really good conversation. And, you know, sometimes I feel a tinge of, when I'm talking to people from another country, I feel a tinge of dislike for this country. And my point is, if you dislike a country, you shouldn't want to be there. You know, if you come to America, you should want to assimilate to being American because you're in America and you should contribute to our economy and everything. And that's just, I mean, what more should a citizen ask? Should I have to work every day and pay taxes or do whatever I'm doing and pay taxes to you and I mean to the government, and which in turns uses some of those funds to take care of someone and their family if they can't get a job because they don't even have a documentation, so they can't get a job. You know, just a bunch of things that are technical things. Yes, we can look at the bleeding heart aspect of this, but we can also look at the official bureaucratic aspect of this as well. You know, if running a country means money and budgets and security and all types of things, why would that not be something that people will work to make better? You know, it's something to think about. You know, we had a really great conversation. I welcome anyone who wants to come to this country. I applaud you for making an effort to become a citizen and contributing to our country. This is a great nation. You know, I want to. I'm glad that you want to be a part of this nation, but you shouldn't come over if you don't want to be a part of this nation. You know, you really should be contributing to this nation. It's like when you look at other countries, and I don't have to name any particular countries, just any countries. When you look at other countries in the world that have these laws and rules, they really take those laws and rules seriously. And out of respect, if any of us go or anyone goes to these countries, they're going to respect those laws, or else what is going to happen? There's a consequence for everything. So you're not going to go to anybody's country and just do what you want to do and not respect the laws, and you will be detained. You know. Now I find it interesting how the same people in some of these countries will come over and they just don't. They feel because you know we have some freedom and some opportunities here that they just can do what the hell they want to do. I mean, basically, you know. And just, you know, I should be able to run somebody over in the car and I shouldn't go to jail for it because I'm not from here. Like that's like retarded. I mean, that's crazy. And I just want you folks to think about that for a minute. Some of you people do not think. The problem is some of you people do not think. Right now, I am not taking an emotional position. I'm just strictly speaking to the fact that I told you guys that I've read a lot of documentation today on the subject. And I can't recite verbatim what I've read because it was so much information. I will probably have to read it several times, but I recommend you guys read it. If anyone is going to have a conversation about what immigration reform should be or anything pertaining to immigration or the current state of affairs with Homeland Security or any of these things, if you're going to discuss these matters, read up on some of the basic things and premises of such things. Because you can't make an informed decision about if you think the country is right for doing this or that. You can't vote for certain things if they were asked of you. You're not informed. If you're just doing it strictly on emotion, then you're not thinking about how everything is done. Because I just told you guys, the very nations that some of the people come from that are illegal residents, those nations have their laws, and if you went over to their country, you would almost certainly be subjugated to the same types of laws or things that they have in place for the same reasons. It works like that, you know. It really does. It really works like that. And you have to understand that it is clearly stated that if you stay longer than your temporary visa, then you are not valid to be in the country. It states that. You know that before they even let you come past a border. You know that. You are explaining these things. Somebody carefully explains these things to you. So you know what you're doing. So if you stay beyond that visa or you don't make steps to renew that, then you have to understand that you're not doing the right thing. And you have to understand that if you were stopped by the police in the traffic stop or any little infraction that you would have done, then immediately it would be flagged that you're not valid. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's just really simple. Like, it's not even hard to grab, you know. And I told y'all that was the case. You know, in that conversation, you know, the situation was like I said, and this is many situations that I understand. You know, these people, you know, may come over and they are good citizens. Like I said, they may work jobs or do whatever they do and as citizens, and they may keep their head down and keep the peace, right? But if they stole their way into the country, if they didn't come in legally, then they are actually illegal residents, and they really are by technical law on the books. And so if they encounter any agency of government and somehow that is flagged that they are that person, then they will something there's going to be a consequence for that. And it's disheartening sometimes, but you know, that's that to think about that. But you know, that is the reality of a law in the country. That is how things work in this world. You know, I told y'all, you know, I respect people making attempts to, you know, to have a better life. And I applaud that. But you also have to realize that you can do the same thing by trying to do it the right way. And in the same struggle that you made to get over, in some cases, some people lose their lives. They may not have the money or something, but you have to press on and try. You know, if you expect to stay here, I love bad behavior. But doing it the right way is good behavior. Showing and proving that you're worthy of being an American citizen, an American, is a good thing. I just had to give my opinion on that. I'm gonna get back on the trail and start walking back. It's getting cold out here, you know. But you know, and like I said, you know, this is, you know, this issue is completely not about emotions. I was just logically giving you guys, just based on what I read in case law. Now, if you want laws to change, guess what you got to do? Guess what you got to do? And some of you don't do that either. See, that's what I'm saying. That's a whole entirely another video that we'll talk about that. Lack of effort. Till next time, folks, y'all have a good night.